Listen, if you've been trying to feel confident before you show up confidently, you've been wasting your time. And today I'm going to tell you exactly why that approach has literally been sabotaging you and the science behind it that proves it. Welcome to With Karen D, the podcast, the place where we get real about one thing. Good things do not come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out and get it. I'm Karen Donaldson, your neuroscience backed communication, confidence, and peak performance coach to leaders across the globe. Now, I'm excited because today's episode is going to flip your entire understanding of confidence on its head. Literally, your brain, your body, your nervous system, they've all been trying to tell you the very same thing. And that is confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a physiological skill, and skills can be trained. It's a behavior. You can train yourself to show up with confidence in any setting or any situation. But here's the truth most people are living in. They're trying to feel their way into confidence, trying to feel that certain something before they actually act. And that, my friends, is backwards. It is a waste of time. So I want us to truly get into it so you can be in control of showing up with increased confidence whenever you want. So let's talk about why the traditional confidence advice fails. We've all heard the classic old school advice. Just believe in yourself. Fake it till you make it. Don't do that. We'll talk about that on another episode. Just think positive and everything will be okay. Feel confident and then act confident. It will come. Now, let me say this clearly. If you are waiting to feel confident before you act, you will wait your entire life. Because the truth is, confidence is not an emotion. I'll say it again. Confidence is not an emotion. Now, let me bring the research receipts. A well-known UC Berkeley study published the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences identified 27 distinct human emotions. And I want you to listen to all of them because I always get asked that question. Karen, what are the 27 emotions? The 27 distinct human emotions that we feel and experience as humans are admiration, adoration, aesthetic appreciation, amusement, anxiety, awe, awkwardness, boredom, calmness, confusion, craving, disgust, empathetic pain, entrancement, envy, excitement, fear, horror, interest, joy, nostalgia, romance, sadness, satisfaction, sexual desire, sympathy, and trust. And guess what was not on the list? Confidence. Why? Because confidence is not an emotion. It is a capability. It is a physiological state. It is a skill set. It's a trainable skill. And I train my clients all the time on how to show up with increased confidence, whatever the setting and whatever the situation. But here's where most people get trapped. They're waiting for this emotional shift, this feeling, when in reality, what they need is a physiological and a psychological shift. We have all been socialized to search for that feeling and wait for that feeling before we show up with confidence. And if you've been doing this and asking yourself for months or years, why can't I be more confident? This is why. This is exactly why you've been stuck. Your belief sits in believing that confidence is an emotion. Now, let's get a little nerdy for a minute, but in a way that actually matters. And for those of you who don't know, I'm an undercover science geek. Now, your brain does not create confidence first. Your body does. Here's how it actually works. Your nervous system scans your environment, whatever you're looking at, wherever you are, and your internal cues decide if you're safe or if you're threatened. Now, if your system senses a threat, even something as simple as a a social threat. Your body responds with this: shallow breathing, tense and tight muscles, weak posture. And then you really start to slouch and you start to shrink. Your voice becomes a whisper. Your focus is just all over the place, all over the place. It's scattered. And your brain interprets that as a physical state, saying, I don't feel capable right now. But when your body receives cues of groundedness, expansion, stability, and certainty, your brain interprets that as, I've got this. So when people say, I don't feel confident, what they really mean is this: my nervous system is not signaling capability to my brain. So here's the fun stuff, nice to know stuff. You don't have a confidence problem, you have a physiology problem. And once you learn how to shift your physiology and what you say to yourself and the ownership that you take around what you say to yourself, you can shift your confidence instantly, just like that, just like that. This is the science behind why my clients can go from terrified to powerful in seconds, whether they're doing a keynote, a board meeting, a media interview, or just having a tough conversation, which we all have from time to time. The body tells the brain what to think. I want you to write that down. The body tells the brain what to think. Got it? Now let's talk about a game changer concept. I call it the solo self-belief. And what I mean is this: it's your ability to show up confidently, especially in high pressure, high visibility spaces, that all those spaces that make you nervous. And it's directly tied to one thing. It's directly tied to this: what you believe to be true about yourself and your capability. What you choose to believe to be true about yourself and your capability. Now, here's a kicker: most people have never actually built their own self belief, they've inherited it. And I want to explain this because this lays true for so many people unless you've challenged yourself. So let me explain. Your current self belief is kind of a patchwork job or a collage of what you were told growing up, what your teachers, parents, or your early boss impressed on you, what they said to you, what society rewarded or what society punished, what your culture rewarded and punished, what you internalized as acceptable or too much, what you are conditioned to think about your worth. Many people are walking around with a self-belief system that isn't even theirs. You didn't consciously choose it. You didn't design it, and 100% you did not approve it. Someone else handed it to you and said this: here is who you are allowed to be. And most people don't even realize it. I remember working with a client who was a C-suite executive, and he lacked confidence. No one knew, but he knew and felt it. And he was so tired of faking it until he made it, or like he did that whole fake it till you make it thing, because it never worked. He suffered every time he had to talk to employees, speak in front of the board, lead meetings, talk to his team. And the crazy thing is, he did this all the time. Now, when we worked together, we covered where his self-belief came from. And at the young age of 55, he realized that he did not own his self-belief. He had inherited it. He was living in it like it was true. And I promise you, his self-belief wasn't anything positive. Now, that nervousness before he speaks, before he goes in front of audience, isn't as intense, and he can control how he shows up in these various situations and there's these various settings because he took ownership of his solo self-belief. So let's talk about it so you can do it too. Remember, your solo self-belief is the opposite of inheriting what other people have told you over and over and over again. And be mindful, I want you to know this if you haven't heard it before. A belief is simply a thought we keep thinking over and over and over again. So if you've been told you've been a chatterbox all your life, that becomes your belief system in which you operate from. So you show up in spaces not wanting to be seen as a chatterbox because you think it's something negative. You truly have inherited that belief that being a chatterbox is not a good thing. And you walk through life without an awareness around how this directly impacts your capacity to show up with increased confidence. Remember, your solo self-belief is the intentional construction of your own identity of capability. Not your mother's voice, not your partner's voice, not your boss's voice, not that teacher who doubted you, not that corporate culture that taught you that dimming is professional and it's not good to speak up or is good to speak up. Solo self belief is a practice of saying this: I decide what I'm capable of. I decide what I believe to be true about myself. You see, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need consensus. It's a decision that you make and you hold as a priority about yourself. It's a highly intentional choice. That C word, choice. You get to build your own internal belief system, literally brick by brick. And that belief becomes a foundation for how you show up in various situations and various settings. This is why my high performer clients can still struggle, because they have the achievements, they have the receipts, but they are not the author of their own self-belief. And that's the work I do with them. So let's talk about what you need to do so you can show up more confidently in whatever situation comes across your plate or across your day. The number one most important thing that you need to do is take back ownership of your self-belief. So right now, I want you to grab your phone, grab a pen, some paper, because yes, you will need to take notes. So if you need to pause, go ahead and do it. Grab your paper. Now, I want you to make a laundry list of all the things you believe to be true about yourself. For example, I'm a happy person, I'm a nice person, I'm lazy, I'm a procrastinator, I never stand up for myself, I talk too much, I'm intelligent. I just want you to take your time and make a literal laundry list, right? And here's what I want you to do next. You've made your laundry list. And let me preface it by this. When you make your laundry list, please be honest with yourself. This is for your eyes only, and we can't change what we can't acknowledge. In no part am I asking you to share this with me, to share it with your peers, to share it with your partner. In fact, after you write this list, feel free to rip it up. Just please be 100% honest with yourself. So go ahead, make the list. I say put on a timer for about 5 minutes, turn off all distractions, and make that laundry list. Just keep it writing. Just keep writing, writing, writing. Do not judge it. Remember, your eyes only. Now, I want you to take a look at this list and then ask yourself, which one of these self-beliefs that I've written down are not mine? Which ones came from someone else? Whether they were well-intended or whether they weren't, don't judge it or judge a person who said it. I just want you to draw a circle around all those beliefs that are not yours, the ones that you didn't decide about yourself. Take your time. And I also want you to circle the negative ones that don't support you in any capacity. Got it? So once you've made all those circles, I want you to have a look at that list and look at how you've been living your life. You've been living your life based on someone else's perspective of you, someone else's opinion of you. And often when people share an opinion, not all the time, but often when people share an opinion, it's about what we're not doing good enough, what we should fix, what we should do better. And a small proportion of time is when someone shares their opinion that is giving you something or giving you feedback that's positive. It's time to take ownership of what you believe to be true about yourself. All right? So you're looking at the list, looking at those that you've circled, and reminding yourself that these are not mine. These do not belong to me. These are someone else's perspective that I've replayed enough in my mind so it becomes my self-belief. And the great news is you have 100% 100% capacity to influence how you show up in this world. And I'll say how you show up or don't show up in this world. Good news, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop it right here and right now. Now, I want you to look at that list and circle what you are deciding is true about you. I want you to see, is there anything positive on there that actually came from you, that you made a decision around, this is what I believe to be true about myself. And on top of that, I want you to add to this list. And now be intentional about what you want to believe about yourself. Your self-belief is yours if you so choose. Remember, this highly important and factual concept. A belief is simply a thought you keep thinking over and over and over again. Your solo self-belief is the intentional construction of your own identity of capability. We get to choose it. When you choose your self-belief and reiterate that in your own mind, now it will influence how you show up in spaces, and it also instantly increases your capacity to show up with more confidence in whatever situation or setting you're in. Let me share my example. So I'm a person who grew up being called a chatterbox, and it wasn't anything positive when I was called a chatterbox as a child. They believed that I spoke too much, I asked too many questions, and that was a complete negative thing. I remember being at school and not wanting to be called a chatterbox because that was my self belief. I'd heard it often enough. And every time I showed up in school and I wanted to say something, I had this little thing in the back of my head. That belief, that wasn't mine. I've just heard, I've just been called a chatterbox for years. Don't be a chatterbox. Don't be a chatterbox. So I showed up in spaces as a muted version of myself. Now, I didn't have all this language when I was a kid, but what I did know was I liked to speak to people. I liked to ask questions or just ask and find out information about what's happening and why things are happening. I was that kid who always did the why. Well, why? Well, why do we do it this way? And why do we have to? And why this time? And I promise you, I got in so much trouble just for opening my mouth. I remember growing up and when I was ready to ask a question, as soon as, I'd have that whole demeanor ready to ask a question and family would be like, oh boy, here she goes again. It's question time. It's Karen question time again. So things changed when I did a similar exercise that I didn't name back then. I decided that being a chatterbox was actually a good thing. So instead of defining as everyone else did, I said to myself, it meant that I was great with people. It meant that I could build really good relationships. It meant that I asked good questions. I intentionally created my solo self-belief. And now I walk into settings and situations knowing that even if I do not have the answer, I can ask questions and find out. And it doesn't make me less of a person. You see, my belief directly impacts how confidently I get to show up in all the spaces I walk into. And that is fully available to you too. And with that exercise of making the laundry list, I remember, and I know when I work with clients and they say, well, Karen, I need to be able to show up with confidence in this situation, in that setting, or in this high pressure stakes conversation, or in this board meeting. And when I sit with them, they're often looking for this elaborate technique or techniques. There's various things we use because various things work for various people. And when I pull out a piece of paper or ask them to find a piece of paper and grab a pen, they're they kind of step back and they're kind of, well, I hired you to do this. And I ask them to pause and walk through the exercise. And this is the most profound exercise that I do with my clients because most people walking around do not own their self belief. They've literally inherited it. And if you don't ever pause, list it, acknowledge it, and disown it, this will influence how you show up in life. This is the underfounding belief that has you doing what you do or not doing what you do, taking action, not taking action, always saying yes, never saying no, speaking up, not asking any questions and leaving the room pissed at yourself. That's just one strategy, but it's the most profound one. So let's continue to talk about the physiological side of things. Now, our nervous system also has a huge impact on how we show up in spaces. And there's strategies and techniques, like I said, that we can use to hack our nervous system or fully take back control of how we show up in our nervous system altogether. Now, I want to share this 2-minute reset I use with my CEOs, presidents, founders, executives, celebrities, athletes, you name it. And it works because it shifts the body, then it shifts the brain, then it shifts your state so you can show up with more confidence. The first one is this. It's called the downshift breath, and you do it for about 30 seconds. And here's what the exercise looks like. I want you to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, Then I want you to hold it for 1 second and then exhale through pursed lips like this for 6. And I want you to repeat it 4 times. And here's why. The longer exhale signals to your vagus nerve that you're safe. And that unlocks access to your executive brain. And your executive brain is a part of your brain that's responsible for focus and self-control. Number 2, the posture reset. And this should take about 30 seconds. I want you to sit or stand really tall, like a string is being pulled out of the crown of your head, like right here. And I want you to relax your shoulders and expand your chest slightly. Plant your feet on the ground and anchor it into the ground. Now, because your posture is powerful and your posture determines perception, both your own and everyone else's around you. Now, the next one is this. It's called the certainty cue. Take another 30 seconds with this. And I want you to say this out loud. Not loud for everyone to hear, but firmly to yourself. I'm capable, I'm prepared, and I'm ready. You see, your brain listens to your voice more than your thoughts. I'm going to say it again. Your brain listens to your voice more than your thoughts. So it's highly important to be intentional with what you tell yourself. Yes, our external environment has an impact on what we think about ourselves. However, what we tell ourselves, and if we're repeating that belief that belongs to someone else, it impacts us greatly, right? The next one is this, the micro action technique, and you'll take 30 seconds with this as well. I want you to do one physical action that signals this to your body and your brain. I'm stepping, I'm moving forwards, and I'm ready. And so these are I do body language, right? These are the physical movements that you can do. And that's what I'm talking about, micro action. You could lean in forward slightly. You can literally, if you're standing, step forwards. The other one is straighten your back. Another one, depending if you're at your desk, close your laptop with attention. Another big one is lift your chin so it's parallel to the ground. And here's why. This is your body telling your brain, we are not hiding. So there's those 4 techniques. I'm going to walk through them again. The 4 of them, it only takes 2 minutes. The first one is the downshift breath. You do it for 30 seconds. Inhale through your nose for 4. Hold it for 1 second, and then exhale through pursed lips for 6. And you repeat that 4 times. The second technique is the posture reset. Your physicality can shift everything. You'll also do this for 30 seconds. You're going to sit or stand tall, fully upright, shoulders back, chest open, and ground yourself as if a string is being pulled to the top of your head. Third one, another 30 seconds. Say it out loud. I am capable. I am prepared. I am ready. What we tell ourselves is true. It works both ways. So when you say to yourself, I'm not ready, I'm nervous, our brain scans for things around us, people around us, environment to support what you've just said. So as you say, I'm nervous, your body will support what you're saying. Now, I don't want you to say anything, I'm perfect. Just state to yourself, you're ready, because ready can be defined as is. Ready does not have to be defined as having all the answers or knowing everything or not being wrong. It means I'm ready to show up as my best self with all my perfections and all of my imperfections. Got it? And the last one, number 4, another 30 seconds, is take micro action. Do something, right? That moves you forwards, that physicality. You want to move in, take that step in, close the computer. That's it. 2 minutes. A full shift of your state every single time. It's possible for you. You just have to commit to doing it. Now, I want to share some stories from the field, without any names, of course, just to remind you and show you that confidence can be trained. Now, let me tell you what most people will never see. And this is the behind the scenes transformation of some of my high-level clients. I call them high-level human beings. A well-known CEO I coach came to me totally convinced that she lacked confidence in the boardroom. But it wasn't her confidence. It was her physiology. When she showed up in those meetings, she didn't take up a lot of space. She sat small. She made sure she was really small, like physically small and compartmentalized. Her binder, her book, her notebook was in front of her and everything was on top of each other. tiny, small, not naturally tiny or small, but look at this, slumped shoulders, physically small. Her breath was shallow. Whenever she was speaking and she was challenged, her voice softened, right? To say and showcase that she wasn't ready. Now, within 20 minutes of recalibrating her nervous system with a couple of the strategies or a couple of the techniques that I shared previously, her entire presence shifted. Her entire presence changed. She walked into her next meeting and spoke only once. And her speaking in the manner that she did, changing her physicality as well, shifted the entire direction of the conversation in the meeting. Why? Because people respond to grounded physiology, not loudness, not bravado, not ego. They respond to certainty. A client, another well-known entertainer, could totally command a stage. When they were on a stage, they rocked it. They were normally performing in front of 100,000 people plus. But they completely fell apart when they did interviews on the red carpet. They couldn't stand red carpet events. We trained them. We trained the switch is what I call it. And we instituted the 3-second cue that moved him from performer mode to executive mode. And remember, executive mode is where you're focused, present, and totally in control. When we did those techniques and it became his pre-performance routine, his interviews on the red carpet changed. They flipped. They literally changed overnight for him. You see, confidence is a skill. Confidence is teachable. Confidence is repeatable because it's a skill that we continue to build. It's embodied. But the biggest thing when it comes to your self-confidence is this. It has to be chosen. You have to stop waiting for it to appear. And if it can be trained for my clients, my friends, it can be trained for you too. So here is one thing I want to leave you with. A lot of the time when we want to shift something in our life or we want to grow in an area, we are looking for complex strategies, complex techniques, complex routines that we have to really shift to show up in a different manner or a different way. And it's often true that small shifts have the largest impacts. And when we compound small shifts with consistency, that's when you'll see the real results. So the biggest step I want you to take is this, that reminder that confidence is not an emotion. It's not a personality trait. So, I've seen it happen even today. I remember it way back when I was a kid, but one parent saying, yeah, we have 2 kids or we have twins and one's more confident than the other. It's not a personality trait. One may like to talk more than the other. One may like to read more than the other, but confidence is not a personality trait. We get to train it. Use the techniques so you can show up more confident in any space that you want. Confidence is not reserved for the chosen few. Confidence is a choice. You can build it. You can own it. You can train it. You can wire it into your body and your mind. You've learned what most people will never understand about confidence because once again, we've been socialized to wait for that feeling and tell ourselves that unless I have the feeling, I'm going to show up in this way that I don't like over and over and over again. People are still trying to feel it before they become it. And that is why they stay stuck. But not you, not anymore. Because now you know the truth. Confidence is a choice. Confidence is an intentional choice. Now, in another episode, we're going to be going deeper into confidence and presence, like body language stuff, how to command a room without even saying a word, and the rules around charisma and how to be more charismatic. Trust me, you don't want to miss that episode. It should be coming in the next little while. If today's episode moved you, though, or shifted something or challenged you how you see yourself, good. That means it's working. I want you to Follow, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Leave a review, comment, so more professionals can break out of that old conditioning and step into the incredible person they were meant to be in this world. My friends, I'm Karen Donaldson, signing off. I want to thank you for joining me on With Karen D, the podcast, where we become real about one thing. Good things do not come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out and get it. It's your time. It's time for you to choose your self-belief and own your confidence.